friend.
My big brother, Stephen Lawrence,
was killed in a racist attack.
Stephen's killers
Still have not been convicted.
My name is Stuart Lawrence. Stephen Lawrence was my big brother. Stephen was killed because he was black. There wasn't, as I said, there was nothing else that motivated it. He wasn't being rude or wasn't shouting at anyone or didn't start a fight with anyone or anything. It was because he was black. I want my identity to be kept secret because the boys who killed my brother have still not been brought to justice. I'm just afraid of the same thing happening to my brother happening to me. That's my deepest fear. Before this happened, I would never have thought that someone white would have killed someone black just because they were black, just because of the colour of their skin. I didn't ever think that would have happened. It's just really weird. It was really weird. As I said, and that was the night my life changed forever. Well, my mum and dad are not together anymore, and they got divorced. And I do believe it was because of my brother dying and all the pressure, the emotions that all become of it, and they drifted apart. So not only has my brother died, I've lost my family circle now. I don't have a mum and dad in the same house. Scared. I'm scared. I'm angry. It's not safe out there. I don't think it's as safe as people think it is out there. Black people could still be killed by white people in a racist attack. As I say, it's better to be in your house and to be safe in your own four walls rather than to be roaming the streets. Just very cautious about whatever I do, wherever I go, who I hang around with, places I go to. Only drive as well. I don't walk anywhere. I only drive in my car, even if it's just the shops which I'll drive to. Just afraid of racists and being attacked on the street. I'm frightened of that. I do think it could happen again today, and it probably still does happen today. And I'm not as naive as I used to be. Always growing up, always in belief that if you did something wrong, and that the police were there to enforce the law, and if anyone did anything wrong, they would enforce the law and stop them from doing that. Doesn't necessarily work like that, but these are early days. Maybe in another 10 years things might be different. We'll have to wait and see.
In 1993, my eldest son,
My best friend.
My big brother, Stephen Lawrence,
was killed in a racist attack.
Stephen's killers
Still have not been convicted. My name's Elvin Adura. Stephen was my best friend. I first met Stephen when I was 7. He was 8. We met at church. We used to get stuck in the Sunday school together. There was like a circle of friends that we all used to move together, and just clicked from there. Immediately after Stephen's death, the police was too interested in what Stephen's background was. He had to be a criminal. They saw us as a gang, and they was too busy trying to investigate myself and people that was around him on the night and his family. And even 10 years on, their attitude hasn't changed. The police still deal with young black men stereotypically. They'll look at you and they automatically assume drugs, guns. They just assume it. For instance, I was getting onto a bus, 4 white men and 1 girl got onto the bus. One of them started doing the Hitler march up and down the aisle. They was armed, or they gave me the impression that they was armed. Anyway, they rush up to me, what are you gonna do, 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 what are you gonna do? And I realised that, even though there was lots of people on the bus, it was me and them. Everybody else was looking out the window like nothing was happening. Throughout the whole incident, I'm looking at this poster on the bus saying, if you are racially harassed, call the police, don't be afraid. I got off the bus, called the police, explained to them the situation that was happening now. These people were on the street looking for me. He kept on saying, oh, what did you do? What have you must have said something to them. I said, no, I was sitting on the bus on my own. Look, I haven't got time to explain. Look, this is happening now. Can you just call a police car out here? No. And if you continue to raise your voice, that goes, what? So I started swearing. I said, look, you can't, I'm effing here gonna lose my life. And you're telling me about, no, I need to stop raising my voice. It's happening now. I just heard the phone go down. That situation was similar to what had happened to Stephen, only that obviously I didn't die. And so it just goes to prove that in 10 years, nothing has really changed. This still could happen. It can still happen. There's nothing that the police are showing me that can tell me that it's not going to happen again. There's no justice here. Justice, it doesn't live in England no more.
Share your views on these programmes on the Black and Asian History map at channel4.com/history.
In 1993, my eldest son,
My best friend.
My big brother, Stephen Lawrence,
was killed in a racist attack.
Stephen's killers
They still have not been convicted.
My name is Doreen Lawrence, and Stephen Lawrence was my eldest son. To believe that it's 10 years since Stephen's been killed, it doesn't seem that long to me. It seems like it's only, I don't know, probably just the past year. Because everything's still very fresh for me, you know, it's still very fresh for me. And to think 10 years on, his killers are still not being brought to justice. 10 years on, we're still trying to cope with Stephen's death. After Stephen we were killed, we were told that there's nothing the police could do, they've got no evidence. Why haven't you got the evidence? They talked to us as if to say they didn't have to give us any information. Questions that we all ask is like, you know, who are you questioning us? We're the police. Nobody said, okay, this is really terrible, this is what we're going to do to help and support you. We had to struggle for everything. Had Stephen been white, the police would have had everybody out, knocking down doors, unarrested. They would have done that. I feel that what we were doing was highlighting their racism, and I do that quite a lot now. And I travel up and down the country doing that, speaking out for those who probably don't have a voice, which is where I started off from, because Stephen didn't have a voice. Stephen couldn't speak for himself. Stephen couldn't argue what had happened to him. So I had to do it for him. In the last 10 years, things have changed, and the police service has taken it on board that they have to change. Even though I feel that the lower ranks are still kicking and screaming, but I know senior officers are changing. 10 years ago, they were very arrogant, you know, we know best. And now they're willing to listen and ask for advice on how to improve things. There's never been any ending to Stephen's story, and hence why the pain will be there for a long time. Had his killers been brought to justice, then you could sort of move on and say, okay, that's complete now. Then you move on. But I've never been in that position since Stephen's death to say, okay, it's time to move on. You know, that's the end, that's a chapter closed. That hasn't happened.